It's Mazzy, and welcome to Mazzy's Mix. Mazzy's Mix doesn't sound very original, does it? But it's just kind of you get your M's like M&M's. It's basically I call it a potpourri or a mix, or it's just when I'm throwing everything together. I don't do new vinyl finds videos. Some people, it's all about branding, right? Some people have branded their videos as vinyl finds or new releases or something. I love that, or whatever the vinyl community or beyond quirky new hipster name of the day is. So I need to kind of pull them together and eventually make a playlist of these because I think because people seem to like them. So I'm calling Mazzy's Mix. I'm not gonna, it's like whack-a-moles, but it's not a whack-a-mole. By the way, I haven't done a whack-a-mole in a while. Next will be number 99. That's coming soon. The bottom line is this is where I have a lot of different things I want to showcase or talk about, and I'm going to put them all together. So there might be new releases, new records I picked up. We might have some record store tours. I think what I might do is put at the very end of each one, if I have some, I think I have a lot, of some videos of just live shows, since a lot of us are hungering and thirsting for live music again. I'll stick a little something in the end on some of these. But I'll show new releases. I'll do maybe some shout outs occasionally. I maybe show some classic record of something I like. And I'm gonna read letters to the editor. In a way, this is like, those of you of a certain age will remember Random Notes. Random Notes was in the early issues of Rolling Stone. And it's kind of like, I'm sure every city has had a columnist who just kind of writes about the latest gossip or things going on. In San Francisco, we had Herb Caen. Herb Caen forever was the first thing you would do when you pick up and open up a morning San Francisco Chronicle would be Herb Caen. Here's Mazzy's comments from various, I'm taking just a handful here. I think I have 6 or 7 from recent videos. Here's one from, I believe this was my Birds video. I've been doing a series of ranking videos. I did the Birds, I did Beatles solo, I did Neil Young, and I've done Dylan so far. And I pick my favorite, my best, the best to me, and I rank them. I resisted that for a long time, but you all seem to like ranking, and you always jump in, a lot of you, and share your rankings. So it's all going to be different. In fact, mine will be different if I do it 1 week from now or 6 months from now. The first one is just a comment from Chrissy on the Birds video. Why should any album review be based on when we first heard them and that our tastes were at the time? Question mark. Enough time has passed at this point that we can step back and objectively rate these albums in a more meaningful way for a current ranking list. Well, thank you, Chrissy, for your comment. We can do both. Why does there have to be rules to do one? Of course, a critic who is writing a thesis and a serious critic would do it the way you describe. But I'm a fan. Not a lot of the people on YouTube are doing these. We're not documentarians. We're talking about our experiences. And in fact, the way I do my videos, if you've seen many of my videos, they tend to be somewhat autobiographical. And since I'm at the age that I grew up when a lot of these records came out, I tend to associate them about things that were happening in my life, good, bad, and ugly, when I was growing up. And when I was falling in love or falling out of love, or, when I got my first job, or whatever it is, or something in my family. So, of course, a record, a song will affect us different ways. It's an emotional take on it. And I come from that side of it, that the way I express my opinions on these records come from, it's a visceral feeling, an emotional feeling. Pat writes, in reaction to my Birds video as well, commented, deportee, in quotes, question mark. Well, la-di-da, Mr. Frenchman. Thank you, Pat. Actually, Pat Cousins has commented quite a bit on my videos, and he always makes some fun comment. Yeah, I like that je ne sais quoi type of response. Now, you're absolutely right. The song Deportee, which is on one of the Birds albums, now I'm blanking out which album it is that the Woody Guthrie song I'm thinking of? They do say deportee, not deportee. So I did sort of do the a French accent. You know, I come from the big city, baby. So we like to get a little sort of the European continental expression of that. I ain't, when I discuss my Dust Bowl songs, I want to add a little French something to it. So, but thank you for pointing that out. It just was a slip of the lips, which I do. I get a little dyslexic and want to make things sound a little sexier than they really are. Deportee. Okay, and those of you who are watching this, deportee or deportee? Like pret-a-porter. I know which is the real one, but just what do you like? What sounds better to you? Okay, thank you, Pat. Olin Weaver writes, and this is in response to my prog video. What did I write? I did a video based on prog records for people who don't like prog music. I don't know what to say. I guess just a dump ass. Oh, he said say dump ass, not dumbass, so that's why I mispronounced it, because he misspelled it. I guess I'm just a dumbass 7-year-old from WV. I guess that's West Virginia. My birth mother was from Wheeling, West Virginia, so maybe we're related. I think everyone in West Virginia is related. Okay, let me start again. I don't know what to say. I guess I'm just a dumbass 7-year-old from West Virginia, but you have, in my opinion, to think Passion Play is a junk record. Bullshit. You need to get out of your yuppie lifestyle, S-T-I-L-E. You need to get out of your yuppie lifestyle. I know you'll find some way to justify your opinion. And by the way, this old man thinks Yoko, oh, no. Get it? O-H-N-O? Sucks. Maybe if there are too many parts and too much going on, it's because you can't keep up. I think Bill Bruford is one of the greatest rock drummers of all time. I guess it's what you feel is progressive is progressive. I guess the next thing you will show is your love for that great band, Daft Punk. Well, Mr. Weaver, Cousin Weaver, can I call you Cuz? I like prog, and I guess you missed the joke in that video, but I like Bill Bruford too, but he seems to be on every other prog record ever made. And yeah, these are just our opinions. If you're watching me talk, it's my opinion. Again, this isn't a textbook. It's a video vlog. A video vlog, that's a vlog there. Okay, well, anyway, thank you. Thank you for writing. I do appreciate the comments, good, bad, and ugly. So I have a comment by Minty Fresh. So Minty Fresh wrote, and this is based on the prog video I did. The video was prog records for people who don't like prog records, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Minty Fresh. Mr. Fresh, can I call you Minty? Well, he wrote, "You've contradicted yourself so many times in this video I lost count. The same things you love about jazz, you hate with prog. Yankery wankery." Yankery wankery, I like that. That should be a name of an album title. Yankery Oasis. Yankery wankery, the reunion album. I think that would be good. "The second side of Love Supreme is a perfect example. Nothing is more holier than thou than the meanderings of later period John Coltrane. As someone with several music degrees, I have learned to respect other people's tastes. When you said Passion Play was a terrible record and claimed that such things as 7/5 time exist, I shut it off. There's no such thing as a fifth note in rhythm." Zappa famously hired symphony orchestra to perform his music and hated the experience. Is it any wonder that bands use keyboards? Maybe learn some music theory or don't critique things you don't really understand. You come off more condescending and pompous than any of the records you criticize. Well, Mr. Minty, or Mr. Fresh, sorry. I didn't study. You're right. You're absolutely right. I did not study music theory. I took a piano appreciation of piano classical music in college, and I played guitar, but I don't know that stuff. However, I did read this book called Twilight of the Gods, The Music of the Beatles by Wilfred Mellers. And Mellers is a professor of music at the University of York. He's also taught at the University of Cambridge and Birmingham in England. So this guy knows his shit. And so, like, for instance, what he writes about, I just happen to have this book handy when your comment came in, and he writes about Fixin' a Hole, Paul McCartney's composition on Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band from 1967. It begins in a Dorian F, rocking force being followed by a pandemic upward lift, balanced by a descending flat seventh. The end of the first strain creates the mind's free wandering as it floats pentatonically upwards, always just off the beat. The middle tells us, thus freed, that he's right where I belong. The lyricism changing in a diatonic F major with a sharp seventh and high tessitura as it refers to the people outside who cannot get in. His private world, perhaps? But the lovingly lilting Dorian tune returns to fade out in timeless pentatonic melismata. That's my musical education, Mr. Fresh. What can I say? Jens Augustine writes, is it Jens? Probably Jens. Jens Augustine writes, again, regarding my prog video. I got a lot of comments on that particular video. I'm really disappointed that you think so superficially about prog rock. You're probably a too bad musician to understand this complex music, because its playful sophistication is what this music is all about. But the Beatles, as a background, can of course not help. Greetings. Thank you, Jens. That's right, it is complicated. Sometimes it's too complicated to enjoy. Rich Six Brew writes, and I have this is a familiar response on some of my videos. And anyway, I'll just read his response 3 weeks ago. Why are you wearing a hat indoors? Keep my head warm so the light doesn't reflect off this shiny bald head of mine. I guess if it was a baseball cap or a trucker hat or a rapper hat or a, would that be different? Or beret? Okay. I've had a lot actually over the last 3 years, people asking that question. So it's a fair question. So thank you, Rich Six Brew. Appreciate it. Okay, we got another one from Chrissy regarding my birds video. Okay, there are no Birds without David Crosby. Without his contributions, it's a different band. After he left, what we had instead was McGuinn, Hillman, Parsons Country Band and the McGuinn Solo Band, both misusing the Birds' names. So all we have is 5 albums to review, from the lowest to the highest. Notorious, Fifth, Younger Than Yesterday, Turn, and Mr. Tambourine Man. Not sure why you would place that unfocused and scattershot Fifth Dimension above any album that has full contributions by Gene Clark, especially when it's evident that others were just getting their sea legs for writing during the time. It's not even in my top 3 of their albums. McGuinn had no business calling the band the Birds anymore. Crosby was right to demand that he stop calling the group that, and the group is absolutely just a McGuinn backing band. Well, I did write back to Chrissy. I did respond back to Chrissy, and I cited a lot of bands go through members, and this is not an uncommon occurrence. And I cited Fleetwood Mac, who basically throughout their entire career went through 3 main incarnations and a few other adjustments. And all they had was a rhythm section, Mick Fleetwood and John McVie, the rhythm section. Of course, she responded, well, at least they had 2 members, original members. So I didn't realize that the rule was 2 members. So, okay, you got McGuinn. Gene Clark leaves after 2 albums. Sorry, he's hardly there, even though he's a big force in their in their aura. Chris Hillman was there through most of it, through Sweetheart. Now, Sweetheart, you got Chris Hillman and McGuinn, right? Oh, sorry. Chris Hillman and McGuinn. But you also have Clarence White on that record. Now, he wasn't a full-fledged member, but who was? Graham Parsons was in that band for like a sneeze. So you have Clarence White, and then Clarence White stays for the rest. In fact, I would argue the last incarnations of the Byrds had more albums as a unit than any other incarnation of the bands. That's just my opinion. Make some videos and share your opinion. But thank you, Chrissy, for your multiple comments. Lastly, I just did a video on Neil Young, Neil Young's ranked records, my favorite records. And I got this comment from Mandy James. Nicolette Larson died of a cerebral edema triggered by liver failure. You pretentious prick. Get your facts right. Mandy, I apologize. You are correct. After 22 years since Nicolette Larson's passing, I misquoted her dying of cancer. I am sorry. I don't think that makes me a pretentious prick. I might be anyway, but not because of that. I'd met Nicolette once years ago because she actually worked in record stores in San Francisco with some friends of mine who ended up going to work for Warner Brothers Records. And then, of course, she gets signed with the help of Neil Young and had that hit, A Lot of Love, that I mentioned that was on that Neil Young record. And Nicolette Larson had the hit of it on her first Warner Brothers record. I didn't follow her much after that when she went into this whole country scene, so I don't know that period of Nicolette Larson, but she was a gentle soul, great singer. I know she backed up, with Linda Ronstadt and worked on some of Neil's things. And if I'm getting it wrong, I hope I'm not a bigger pretentious prick. Although being a bigger pretentious prick, is good depending on your point of view. But thank you for correcting me, and I'm not a pathologist, so and I don't remember every little thing. I don't take notes on this, so I should have researched that. But to be honest with you, when I was doing that, I'll confess, when I was doing that Neil Young, I did not write anything down, and I wasn't planning on even mentioning Nicolette Larson, but as I went through the track list, I just remembered that song, A Lot of Love, that was the hit, that she had the hit on her debut record. So I apologize for that. So I think that's the end of our comment section for this episode, and let's show some records. Okay, the new record section of Mazzy's Mix. Mazzy's Mix. Let's show this. I think I might have mentioned it briefly, but this is Tone Poem. Tone Poem by the great Charles Lloyd and the Marvels. The backing band, the Marvels, on this, none other than Bill Frisell's group. Bill Frisell on guitar, Greg Lease on steel guitar, Reuben Rogers on bass, and Eric Harland on drums. Of course, the great Charles Lloyd, tenor saxophone, alto flute. I believe he just turned 82 years old. This is actually a tone poet, and this is the first tone poet, as I recall, that is a totally original new record, not a reissue. It's a double album, came out Blue Note Records, which is the tone poet line. It has been all these great audiophile Kevin Gray cut reissues. Thousands of videos around her showing that record. This is a beautiful, gorgeous record. Now, it's not in the post-bop, or it doesn't sound like anything like those records. In fact, what it sounds like, most of all to me, if you've heard last year's, made one of my top 20 list of records, Bill Frisell's album on Blue Note, Valentine. Very kind of easygoing record. It's sort of like, very much like a companion to that Bill Frisell record, with Charles Lloyd added on top as a horn player. Co-produced by Joe Harley, who is tone poet. Another little fact, that Charles Lloyd was a jazz musician that nicknamed Joe Harley Tone Poet. So he's the tone poet, and that's why he oversees the series, calling it Tone Poet for Blue Note Records. Beautiful record. If you expect that kind of post-bop work or anything like, pretty much like anything from the late 50s, early 60s, this ain't that. It's more of a moody based record, but it's really a beautiful record. And I would argue this is an easier album to get into for a lot of people. So highly recommended. And let's see what we got here. We got a nice, beautiful gatefold. And there's the tone poet himself, Joe Harley, right there. Next on the list is a record. I didn't know this band. This is their 6th album, and they totally passed by me. And this is Frankie and the Witch Fingers. Frankie and the Witch Fingers. This came out last October, and I literally just got it on vinyl in this past week. They were more psychedelic and jammy a little bit. This is sped up quite a bit, so I don't really have a lot to compare it to. But it's a fast record, a lot of rhythm sections, a lot of like upbeat drumming that merges them into a little more probably a psychedelic meets modern. I hate to use the word pop because that sounds like a negative, because it's not like that. But it's a really good, really interesting record. Of course, a great, wonderful psychedelic cover. So I love this record. It's called Monsters Eating People. Eating monsters, eating people, eating monsters, eating people. And it's on a lovely, unnecessary splatter color. You know, I don't need this color stuff. People like it, and it's fun, but I just soon have everything black. But, you know, it's a fun record, and I recommend it, and it's sort of a modern take on psychedelia. And all your lyrics, your psychedelic lyrics, which I haven't even read yet. I had streamed the record early on to get a sense of it. A friend of mine turned me on to it, and I just played the vinyl once. And pressing's not bad. It's not like this greatest high-end pressing, but it works for the material, and it's a good record. So what a great name, though, right? Frankie and the and the Witch Fingers. It's got to be a good title. Someone comment on that. All right. Next, this album. You ever seen this album? Again, I think it came out last fall, but I think the vinyl version just came out. It's Painted Shield. Painted Shield is one of those, I don't want to say super groups because these aren't not all super musicians, but it has Stone Gossard from Pearl Jam, and he actually painted this floor. He painted this floor. School of Jackson Pollock, obviously. See, I can know about art. And a lot of the vocals are Mason Jennings. That seems like an interesting combination. I've been following Mason Jennings for about, I don't know, 15 to 20 years. I think I have CDs of him. I don't have any vinyl. He's kind of a singer-songwriter, folky type of artist. So him working with his Pearl Jam adds, there's a heaviness to it, but also a lightness, singer-songwriter to it. And it's a really good record. I mean, there's some good guitar stuff on it, but it's nothing like a loud Pearl Jam record. I would say it's more in the vein of the Mad Season type of album, which was that super group with from was that the 90s, early 2000s, I believe, with members of Screaming Trees and Alice in Chains. No, what's the other group? You know what I'm talking about. And Pearl Jam. This is a cool record, independently released. I got it at Easy Street Records, which is my local and the home record store of some of the Pearl Jam guys in West Seattle. So check this one out, stream it, and see if you like it. But Mason Jennings, check his solo records out. I think on the one of the movies, is it No Way Out, or what's that Dylan biopic that's not, it's a surreal movie of all these actors playing Bob Dylan. I believe Mason Jennings is on that soundtrack doing a Dylan cover. I mean, that's a really, really cool movie. Oh my God, her 50th record, Loretta Lynn's 50th record, and she sounds fantastic. She covers a few of the songs that she's done in the past, plus a few standards that seem sort of like, do we really need to hear another version of Keep on the Sunny Side? But it's really good. And she'll do some duets here, like with Reba McEntire, Carrie Underwood. I don't really follow a lot of that not that Reba McEntire is a new country artist. I don't follow the current Nashville stuff. Also, Margot Price is on here. But this is really good album. I Saw the Light is on here. Really great sounding record. Her last few records in the last decade have been great, including the one produced by Jack White. So it's great to see this. I ordered this, pre-ordered it several months ago from her site, and got a nice autographed picture of Loretta Lynn, limited, number 204 out of 790. She's got to sit during the lockdown and write her name 790 times. Loretta Lynn. And lastly, in this section, and I haven't even listened to this yet, just for the Beatle Connection collection, the EP, Ringo Zoom, Peace Now, Ringo Stars EP. Zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom, 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 zoom. Ringo Starr, the Fab, Ringo EP. That's it. No more? Well, there's actually going to be a little code at the end, but thanks for watching the first Mazzy's mix. Send requests. I don't know if I'll get to all the requests, but if you want me to stick in something on these potpourri mixes, no problem. I'm going to end up with a video I took, I don't know when it was, 2014, I believe. And this is Neil Innes. If you don't know Neil Innes, he was an original member of the Bonzo Dog Band. He wrote a lot of the songs with Eric Idle for Monty Python. And of course, he's Ron Nasty. He's Ron Nasty of the fabulous Ruddles. And he passed away in the last couple of years. But this is a performance of him I took doing Double Back Alley, the great Ruddles fabulous hit. So Mazzy loves you, and so long.
Neighbors were loud, but ever so proudly. People would shout, joking about the smoke and the soot. Martha would put the milk bottles out. We had a good time in Double Back Alley. Fences to climb, and Father O'Malley to strip your ear and steer you clear of the funny man in the ice cream van who talks so queer. Double Back Alley takes me back, and in my mind I see